Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Those Who Wish Me Dead. And this is the new film from writer-director Taylor Sheridan, who I'm a huge fan of. His films, Hell or High Water, Wind River, they were some of my favorite films of the years that they came out. I hadn't really been keeping track of that when Sicario came out, but to be perfectly honest, Sicario probably would have been very high up there as well. And one of those films was directed by Sheridan, which was Wind River. But those three kind of rise up above his most recent work. I watched the first season of Yellowstone. I really enjoy it. I don't think it's on the same level as his previous works. I saw Sicario, Dea Soldado. I like that movie a lot more than most people, but it definitely isn't as good as the first Sicario. And then you have this film, which this is like cliffhanger, just 90s survivalist action thriller. And this one is very streamlined to the point where I'm just like, oh, we're getting to the end now. Oh, I didn't realize we were going so quickly. And it's such a bare bones, to the point, focused kind of thriller. And, you know, Taylor Sheridan has a very specific kind of story that he tells. It's very much a kind of like lawless, out there kind of look of America that a lot of people don't see. I'm somebody from New Jersey. You don't see that stuff in New Jersey. But you do see that it's a different feel in Montana and Wyoming and Texas. And you feel that in this film, which was really weird because there's parts that start like in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I'm just like, since when's a Taylor Sheridan movie going to be in Florida? And obviously it shifts gears to Montana and you're just like, oh, that's more like it. But you have this story where this man is in some trouble. And the film starts off towards the beginning with these two hitmen killing a family in a house, making it explode. You have Aidan Gillen and you have Nicholas Hoult, who are these two hitmen. And they're not the deepest of characters, but they have codes that makes them interesting enough that they fit well into this very streamlined meat and potatoes kind of thriller. And they both do a fine job. They each get like little things of motivation throughout. Makes it a little more personal. And you see where they're coming from. And they work for Tyler Perry, who shows up for like one scene and does a really good job. And is surprisingly huge and intimidating. And it really works in that way. But they take out this family, and this man realizes, oh crap, I'm in trouble. So him and his son go on a road trip, and there's moments of their relationship where it's just like, that's where some of this film doesn't work the best for me, is some of the dialogue between this father and son. But there's a really beautiful moment of the son meeting a wild horse on the way to Montana, and that was a nice, one of those little kind of quieter moments in a Sheridan script that adds that depth. There's more of those kinds of things that add the depth, that add the character-driven kinds of things in his other scripts than this one. This one's a little bit more to the point, and it makes it a little more streamlined, it makes it a little more straightforward, and a little shallower. And in the end, I really enjoyed this movie. I didn't love this movie. And that's where it doesn't fit in with some of his other films, is there wasn't the depth that I felt in some of his other works. And along the way, you know, father gets killed, this boy's off into the wilderness, and he meets up with Angelina Jolie's character, who's a former smoke jumper, who has this horrible past, and she's trying to take care of this kid while his, I guess, uncle, played by John Bernthal, who is the deputy sheriff around these parts, and his pregnant wife get caught up in this as well. And this has a really great cast because there's really great actors here, and Angelina Jolie's doing some of the more interesting work that she has in a long time. And to be perfectly honest, I don't remember a whole lot of the work that she's done lately, like Maleficent and the one and only Ivan. But this really worked for me, and she had enough character and depth here, and she had that past. We understand where she's coming from. John Bernthal doesn't play this like really, really hard-nosed kind of guy. You care about him, and he has this wonderful relationship with his wife, who turns out to be, by the way, a complete badass, played by Medina Senghor, who... some of the best moments in this film are centered around her and what she does in fighting back against these assassins. There's one particular sequence that's like quintessential Sheridan action, and I loved it. And the trickiest thing about this is going like big scale, like forest fires are going on, stuff like that, and the budget isn't there to make this look really real. It looks kind of fake at a lot of certain points in this film, and that took me out of the movie a bit. But more or less having a similar ending to like the Jungle Book 2016 movie, you have this giant forest fire and you have this confrontation going on in between it. This is a thrilling and well-stacked cast with a really solid group of characters, and it's streamlined, it's to the point, it's interesting. It's not something that has a whole lot of depth or isn't particularly unique in the grand scheme of things, but this is a fresh kind of feel of a film for 2021. You don't see things like this a whole lot, and this is like that more mature kind of action thriller that I saw somebody put it that this is for adults. I don't like that term, but it's more of a, I guess... it's more of like this is like mature kind of thing. It doesn't go for fun. It doesn't really try to go for those things. It goes for that meat and potatoes kinds of thrills that you don't have to worry about trying to keep track of like 50 million characters or comic book stories and stuff like that. It's streamlined, it's in your face, and Taylor Sheridan knows how to make some action movies. Some very strong thrillers, and I'm going to keep enjoying his films and what he puts out there. Hopefully things get a little bit deeper with some of his films coming up that do remind me more of Sicario, Hell or High Water, Wind River. But this, I still really had a great time with this. I enjoyed Those Who Wish Me Dead, and I definitely recommend it to all of you, whether you're seeing it in theaters or on HBO Max. But those are my thoughts on Those Who Wish Me Dead. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.